My name is Angela Sloan. I am from Clinton County, which is in south central Kentucky, so a little bit of a distance away. We were lucky enough to become one of the ACT schools. And let me say first and foremost what a benefit that has been, not just for my school, but our high school and the district as a whole. The resources provided us have been truly amazing, and hopefully we'll be back next year. But as I said, I am from Clinton County. I'm the principal at Clinton County Middle School. This is my first year as a principal and my first year working in a middle school, so I've had a whole lot of things to learn. But when we became part of ACT, and just to give you just an overview of that, it's activating catalytic transformation. And it is about finding what are the problem areas in your school and then developing that plan of action, that theory of action to try and solve some of those problems. This is just kind of some pictures from my school so you kind of get an idea of where I'm from. Of course, we have our cheerleaders. This was our event with a lot of community members where they did the Reality Town. Of course, our band. We did a glow party. We have attendance events every month for perfect attendance. This is one of our wonderful students, Caden, and his project. Our art teacher, they made kites with famous pieces of art that they painted on them. Again, this is our 7th grade music class. They do guitar in 7th grade. And again, just a few more pictures of some of our students. This is a painting party that we did. This is our middle school challenge, and that is where it's an academic competition between all the grade levels. And that's a huge event and a focus on academics. And this, of course, would be our staff. These are our special education teachers, all dressed in their attire. This is the administration. We were ACDC. So we try to incorporate fun along with education. So the process that we went through when we became part of ACT was we started with data analysis at the beginning of the year to try to discover what the problem of practice was. Now, again, because this was my first year at this school, I had no preconceived notions, okay? So when we sat down, and when I say we, it was all of the teachers at the school looking at all the data we had available. And then we decided that our problem of practice was going to be that low attendance was leading to low achievement. So from there, we went to developing one small thing that every teacher in the building could do to help bring about and improve attendance. And one of the things that they focused on was relationships, building relationships with all the students. From there, each teacher developed their own individual theory of action. These are the steps that I'm going to follow. These are the things that I'm going to do in relationship building. We continued to look at our data, and time passed. Then we had to do some regrouping. As time passed, we were attending KVEC meetings, and we were new to that cooperative. We also had pedal observation, and then we also had something called an Elliott, and an Elliott is something through Advanced Ed. But when KVEC came and did the pedal observation, and when the group came and did the Elliott observation, and both of the results were the same, you know that if two separate instruments used by two separate groups tell you the same thing, then that's probably an issue. And we discovered that the problem really was not relationships. We have very good relationships with our students, as was pointed out by everyone who came in. The problem was what's actually going on in the classrooms. Is it actively engaging the students? Or as Tricia Skyle said, I think I said her name correctly, or is it enthralled engagement? Meaning, are they enthralled with what they're doing, or are they just sitting there doing it because they have to? And plus, I like to think that I had some growth along the way as well, because by that point, I had been in the classrooms, I could see what was going on in the school, so we made some changes. And our new focus became student engagement. How could we have more active learning, enthralled versus mandatory? They're not doing it just because a teacher tells them to, but they're doing it because they're truly invested in it. You know, in one of the presentations today, somebody said, if they like it, they're going to come in there and do it. And that's true. If they enjoy it and they want to be there, then you're going to have enthralled versus I'm just doing it because someone told me to. So that became our new focus. We also incorporated video lessons where the teachers videoed themselves using the swivel, and then from that they would sit with me, we would watch it, and then they would tell me what did they notice. Okay, and from that they began to see their teaching in a different light. Many of them realized, I didn't know I did the same thing time after time. I didn't know how long my kids were sitting there in a chair not moving. So things like that they could notice, which was very important. And then in our PLCs, we began talking about different active engaging strategies that they could use. And then the teachers would have to use something new and then come back and report that back in the PLC to see how that was going with them. So as it stands, we have currently revamped our PLCs to try to be more focused on what we need to focus on what the students are doing in the class, to be more student-centered in our thinking. I know sometimes teachers, and I was in the classroom for 18 years, and I know this, I always thought about what I was doing. Okay, what am I going to be doing tomorrow? What do I need to do for these kids? What do I need? Okay, and really looking back, I think I would have been much better served if I had thought, what will my kids be doing? What do the kids need to be doing for me, opposed to me doing it for them? So we're really trying to have that change of thought to being more student-focused. And we're also working on developing a specific protocol, which did not exist previously. So through training with the PLCs and learning more about that, we're hoping that we can increase that student engagement. They told me not to put failures up here. They said to put challenges. But with anything that you try, you're going to have things that don't go well. That is the norm. What was it I saw earlier? It said if you're not failing, you're not doing anything, right? So we tried, but then we had some things that didn't go well. First of all, we had the wrong problem of practice. We had the wrong thing that we started out working with. And then over time, we discovered that really does not need to be where we put our energy, because as far as relationships went, we were doing pretty well. Discouragement and doubt. Now, this always comes into play. Is there anyone in this room who has not, at the end of the day, thought, oh my heavens, what have I just done? Everybody, right? So not only did my teachers feel this, but I would feel that on occasion, because you want the best and you want it to be the best that it can be. So sometimes that does seep in there, and you have to do all you can to make sure that you drive that demon out. And then occasionally we would lose focus, because that's very easy to do. And I think every teacher in the room knows how easy that is to occur. You start out with big plans and then you kind of veer off course. But I hope that we are self-aware enough to see when that happens and then steer ourselves back in the direction that we need to go. So that's really what led to that mid-year change, which we really truly did need to have happen. We also had some successes. So when we had challenges, there were also successes. We had clarity of relationship. And what I mean by that is, while we did start out focusing on relationships, and we did a lot of things to help build that, I think the teachers started to see all of the relationships that they had already built. And from that, they saw how valuable it was to continue that and even to make those relationships stronger. When we were picking students that we would work particularly with, a sixth grade teacher might pick an eighth grade student because they remembered that relationship from 2 years past. So what they found was, if I could have that relationship with that one student, why can't I have a similar relationship with one that I have now? So there was clarity of that. We also came to understand the needs of our school a little bit better, which sometimes is not an easy task, because sometimes you think you know what it is, And then you discover, oh, that was not it at all. So I'm hoping that we now have a better understanding of those needs. And also, I hope that we have a better plan in place now with a smaller focus. That's at least what we're hoping for. Does anyone have any questions? Thank you.